Good day, everyone. This is Patrick from EasyFX Code Trading System, and it's Saturday, the 10th of June, 2023, and this is the weekly technical analysis for spot gold and dollar yen for the second week of June. And looking across these two pairs, seems to be still consolidating. With the dollar yen, still consolidating as well in a fairly tight range, although it's wider for spot gold. And all waiting for this coming week with the FOMC rate decisions, and that's going to be a key driver for this week for the US dollar pairs and opposite pairs. So we'll have to watch the DXY as well as the dollar pairs for this coming week. It's going to be a significant news week. And let's also take a look at what happened last week to whether there was any significant drivers from last week, especially since this coming week is going to be a critical one. All right, let's review that. So, of course, this week is a critical week with the FOMC having their meeting, announcing their rate decisions, along with the ECB as well. There is also the Bank of Japan on Friday. But before that, last week, the RBA made a surprise rate increase where the market was expecting a pause, and it is increased by 0.25% to 4.10% now. And this helped to give the Aussie dollar a boost. But starting the week, there was also the US ISM Services PMI, which came out lower than expected, which was a surprise. So this started the drift lower for the US dollar. And on Wednesday, the Australian GDP did not come out as strong as expected. So slight weakening in the economy. But this week, the critical one is FOMC on Wednesday, and market is expecting a pause, leaving rate unchanged at 5.25%. However, last week, along with the RBA, the Bank of Canada also surprising the market by increasing their interest rate. And with these two central banks surprising the market last week, we're not sure whether the FOMC may also increase rate another 0.25% before taking a pause, especially with recent jobs data was higher than expected. Although last week the unemployment claims for the US was significantly higher than expected, so that was a surprise as well. But this will be a critical one on Wednesday. Prior to that, there's also news from the US and UK on Tuesday and Wednesday with the CPI and the PPI. Critical data as well for the Federal Reserve, but they could take their cue from the PCE price index a couple of weeks ago already, which was also higher than expected. And the UK has jobs and GDP coming out. The Bank of England's rate decision will be next week, the following week. And then the ECB on Thursday, they're expected to increase rate as they're still behind on the interest rate hiking curve. And on Friday, the Bank of Japan, this will be the second meeting with the new governor. So we'll see if there's any changes to be made. The last one was a bit dovish, so the Japanese yen suffered at that point. Okay, so very news critical week this coming week, and let's go back to the majors. Okay, let's start off with spot gold, where it could not climb up higher to retest the 1975. This was a critical resistance zone here. Could not reach that along with the 38 fib, but it did manage to find support of this zone of swing low from a couple of months ago, and then recently as well. So it managed to find support there. So that's going to be a critical area to watch out for. But unfortunately, it couldn't climb up much higher. Could not break the 1975. And with news, critical US news this coming week that may trigger a breakout eventually of this consolidation area, consolidation box here. US CPI data, Federal Reserve meeting, of course, and the US retail sales. Following that, that's definitely going to be a breakout one way or the other. And let's update some of the fibs as well, because I think we can narrow it down a bit. And let's if we move this to this swing low, it did not climb that much, could not reach the 38 fib. So perhaps we can take this previous swing low, and if it does break down, let's see. Okay, look at that. There's a confluence here with the 162 fib. That's right at the 1900 area. That's going to be a critical support zone. And the swing low area at the 100 fib, along with the 1975 zone, that's also going to be a intermediate resistance. And of course, the critical one above that at 786, just below the 1993 area. So that's going to be our critical resistance zone now. This area is still going to be a key resistance at the 1975. Okay. And it's also looking as if there's a descending triangle area here, where it could break out higher from or break down from. Let's draw that in and zoom out a bit. It's possible with this lower high here. And in fact, it could also be a triangle consolidation. Yeah, it can easily be a triangle here or also a descending or ascending triangle. These critical area of resistance up here. Oops. Not able to grab this here. Let's yeah. So that's the 1975. Let's mark that line back. Yeah, let's mark it as a ascending triangle here for now. And on the weekly time frame, last week was consolidating within the previous week's range, so it's a harami here. And not surprisingly, consolidation for last week, and then eventually it's got to break out higher. So that's the two recent highs and forming that upper trend line. Okay. So yes, we'll update this fib here. If it does break down, then it could test the 138. And then eventually, if it weakens further, it's perhaps falling all the way back down to 1900, where it's going to be a strong support. Definitely, there should be buying interest down there. All right, so let's compare with the US dollar index for last week to see whether there was also consolidation. And here's the US dollar index and critical week for the US with the FOMC rate decision and as well as CPI data coming up first. It weakened through the week with the starting with the lower than expected ISM services PMI figures and could not climb up to test the 104, just fell short of it and fell all the way back down to the 103 level. So that's a critical support here. May need to change this to an interim support with the next key support rising up to the daily 55 here. And this zone now has fallen through, so there's an intermediate resistance now. 104 is getting the critical level, so that could be a significant resistance along with the 786 retracement area. And on the weekly time frame, there was weakness after the spinning top for last week or previous week and fell back to find some support at the weekly 55 EMA. So let's see if it's able to find support this coming week with the FOMC meeting coming up. And it's if there is a surprise rate hike, then it's going to be a boost for the US dollar in the short term. But if the Fed does not raise interest and as expected by the market, then it could just continue to drift lower and consolidate at a lower area after this recent recovery. So if we do a quick check on this move, it's attempting to dip lower towards the 38 fib retracement at the daily 55 coming up, and it could dip to 102.30. That's where the 50 fib retracement is. So we could adjust the fib to this recent area, and perhaps move this away and form a intermediate support here. Key one will be at the 50 fib. And shift the intermediate resistance slightly lower. 104 is still, we can just combine this and move this to the swing high here. So that will be the key resistance zone at the 105.25, the recent high. Okay. All right, so let's move back to the other majors for the analysis. Moving on to dollar against Japanese yen. It was not able to climb up higher. It just hit the 162 fib extension of this swing move, reversal swing move, and dipped down lower right into this area of support where it recently broke up from, and then found support and support again. So, and it's also wasn't able to drop into this area of recent swing highs. And I think we should be able to update this fib now. Let's actually we can leave this fib here. Yes, let's leave this fib here. Let's remove this fib. So if there's a further extension, it could break the 162 and target the 200 area and 200 fib extension, and that's where the 142 is aligning with. Okay, and let's zoom out to, and it looks as well. There's the, this looks also like a descending triangle. That's the opposite of the spot goal earlier, and it can break out higher or break down from here as well into this support zone. So we can update that, and so this swing high area is going to be a critical support zone as well, and coming up above below that is the 786. along with the rising daily 55 EMA. And critical resistance up here at the 200 pip. We'll just add a upper trend line for the descending triangle. So let's move this out as well. Okay, so along with the FOMC rate decision, there's also the Bank of Japan having their meeting and policy decisions on Friday. So we'll see if there's any impact after the Federal Reserve. All right. So lots of key news from the US side this coming week, and there's going to be a lot of volatility with all these rate decisions. So do watch out and stay safe and have a good trading week, and cheers for now.